going on, guys? My name is Jake Snow, and I'm a former 4-time Massachusetts USAPL state champion powerlifter, and now I do jiu-jitsu. I'm going to be starting this mini-series called Lifting for BJJ, and this is going to be episode 1. Now I'm going to preface, I have no professional credentials at all, so this isn't professional advice. You don't have to listen to me. I am the strength coach that nobody asked for, but I'm going to tell you what I do as far as my strength work outside of jiu-jitsu. It's been helpful for me, and I hope you guys can find some benefit. Maybe your experience, maybe not. This could be you dipping your toes in the water. If you're a conditioned jiu-jitsu athlete who just doesn't do much strength work, I think this might be a good place to start. As I mentioned, I held 4 state records in Massachusetts and USAPL. I'll throw those up there. So I do know a thing or two about how to get strong and build some muscle. I started strength training when I was 16 roughly, so I'm just going to share some of the knowledge that I have from that area of my life and hopefully help apply it to your guys' grappling. So I structure my workouts 3 to 4 days a week usually is what I aim to hit for workouts. Just strength training, I do 3 days of upper body and 1 day of lower body training, and my first day of the week is what we're going to be covering today. This day I'm going to be focusing on the chest, the shoulders, and the triceps, and I'm going to show you how I tie it all together and the workouts I do and some little details that I think are important. So let's get started. Now, before we get started, I just want to preface that strength in jiu-jitsu will not make you inherently better. What strength can do is amplify good technique. However, this does not work the inverse way. If you have someone who's very strong with poor technique, it's not going to increase their technique and make it more high percentage. Although if you have stellar technique and you're positionally sound, adding some strength to the mix will help you for sure. I think Gordon Ryan is a great example of how this actually works in practical application. I believe he got his black belt when he was 21, and at the time he was not a super big guy. He was kind of long, lanky, and then, as we all know, began taking steroids at some point. His physiology drastically changed, but the technique that he had already developed in his game was so profound that once he added strength and a lot of musculature to the mix, it became even more high percentage. All right, let's get to it. I like to begin my workouts on push day with a compound press of some sort. Usually I'll alternate between a dumbbell bench press or a flat barbell bench press, but the same rules and the same concepts that I'm going to talk about here will apply to both. For the sake of the video, I'm going to show the dumbbells because I tend to favor them more so than the barbell at this point. Now, once we get on the bench, here you can see my shoulders are extended. There's no retraction going on. And as I start to get set up, you can see I retract my shoulder blades, retract my scapulas back and down, and create a healthier, more safe position for my shoulders before I begin the pressing movement. A good cue I like to use is, imagine you're holding a pencil in the middle of your upper back and you're using your scapulas to hold it in place throughout the entire movement. Now, for every exercise we're going to be talking about here in this video, and just a general rule, we're going to control the eccentric, which is the bottom end of the movement. So when we're bringing the weight down, that is the eccentric movement. To reap the most benefit from it, you want to go slowly on the way down. If you just let the weight come crashing down on top of you, it's not going to be beneficial. You're going to get the most activation and hypertrophy from the slow eccentric movement. And on the way up, we're trying to produce as much force as possible. And I'm bringing those dumbbells all the way down, almost past the line of my chest, getting into that deep flexion and making sure the muscle is moving through the entire range of motion, which is super important for strength and building flexibility. All right, the next exercise we're going to be looking at is these flat bench dumbbell tricep extensions. I really like these, and it replicates a tricep rope pushdown very well, and that's one of my favorite movements if I do have a cable, but for this instance, let's say we don't, so this is a very good alternative to that movement. So if we take a look, you can see my humerus, so the point from my shoulder to my elbow is staying pretty still and is completely in line over one another, and the only thing that's moving is my lower arm, so my radius and ulna. Although you can't really see it in the video, I'm aiming to end with my knuckles facing the sky, almost like a traditional rope pull down where your knuckles will be facing the ground, but since we're on our back, we're gonna be pointing them straight up to the sky. Now it's important to mention that it's worth doing different rep ranges on different days. It's important to do some low reps, so anywhere from 3 to 8 reps, as well as some higher rep ranges from anywhere from 10 to 16. For muscle growth and strength building, it's good to mix in both, so I alternate depending on the days a week or the week itself. Some weeks I'll be going generally heavier with some lower reps, and some weeks I'll be shooting for more hypertrophic effect. And now for our second chest-oriented movement, we're going to be looking at an incline press of sorts. Now, same rules apply. I'm doing this with dumbbells here, just for the sake of continuity, but you can also do this with a barbell, and it would pretty much be a similar movement, not much changes. I tend to like the dumbbells better. I enjoy the unilateral movement. I think it's better for development, especially for a grappler. We're not always going to be linked holding one solid object. It's also going to reduce the likelihood of developing imbalances in your muscles since you're working unilaterally and using each arm independently from one another. This time around, my lower arm is staying completely vertical throughout the entire movement, as well as retracted shoulders, similar to the bench press movement we did earlier. But these dumbbells are moving essentially in a straight line over one another. My elbows are not too flared out, putting them in a safe, healthy position, and I'm bringing them down slowly and extending up quickly. These are great for growing the chest, and they're probably one of my favorite movements ever. Alright, onto our second tricep movement here. We're going to be doing overhead skull crushers, and I like to do these on an incline. You can totally do these flat. I think I feel a more consistent tension on the muscle throughout the movement with the incline, and I also feel like my shoulders are under less load. These are great, and this overhead movement works the long head of the tricep, which is usually tougher to hit doing regular tricep extensions. And as you can see here, I'm showing you the difference between a flared elbow and a narrow elbow. You want to keep your arms in line with your shoulders as well. If they're too flared, the tension's not going to be on the tricep as well, and it's going to be more so on the shoulder. So play around with it and figure out what works for your body and what feels the best as well. And onto the final movement that I'm going to be covering. It is the overhead dumbbell press. The theme is going to continue. You are more than welcome to try these out with a barbell too. I think it's important to have a bend in the dumbbells, but for this purposes here, I'm going to show you as if it was a barbell. So I'm moving my head forward as the bar passes over my head, and when I bring it down, I'm bringing my head backwards towards the back of the bench pad. So I'm getting a clean line of movement, and my head is not getting hit by the bar. I'm kind of moving it around the bar or dumbbells as I move it up and down. And here's a view from the front, and our arms are not completely out on a perfect line. They're a little more so bent in, just for comfort on the shoulders, because if they were extended out straight on a straight line that follows our shoulders, it would not be comfortable and you would not be getting the most proper and beneficial range of motion. Now, the biggest thing when it comes to strength training, for me at least, especially when I was brand new, is experimenting. Especially if you're a younger person, you've got so much time, so you can afford to experiment with different exercises, really try out a bunch of different stuff, find what you like, find what works the best for your body, and play around with things. You know, this video isn't an end-all be-all for weight training or whatever, so go around the internet, find a bunch of different resources, take in all the good parts, try them out, see what you like, and then form your plan for lifting from there. The biggest thing is keeping your workload in a range that you can recover from. I would say start slow and then build up from there. Don't go crazy. Don't start going every single day of the week to start off, because you will burn out and you will not be able to recover efficiently and effectively off the bat. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun doing this one, and I'm definitely going to have part 2 and 3 coming out shortly. So stay tuned. Within the next few weeks, they should be releasing. That's all I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoy. Have a great day.